Hello again and welcome back. My name is Chris Igwe, and I'm going to continue in my series just to share with you thoughts and ideas based around, I guess, my book, which is Breaking Down Barriers. Breaking Down Barriers, basically my journey from a small African village to the world stage. And what I'm doing through this series of videos is just giving you some snapshots and some ideas to help you on your own journey to discover wherever it is you want to go to, and of course to get to where you want to be. Now, in the previous videos that I've shared with you, I've explained the way in which the book is constructed. And essentially what I do is I take a thought, an idea, develop it around my own philosophies, and then give you a personal story. And those personal stories are my own, very much. So I do share, in order for you to identify within that, perhaps your own story, perhaps how that links to the philosophy that I've described for you. So what I want to talk about today is I want to go back to a chapter that I referred to at the very beginning, which is investing in yourself. Investing in yourself. And in fact, in this book, which is also, should you decide to get a copy, what's interesting is I have taken certain pictures. So this one is with me and Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor, the late Bob Proctor, died a couple of years ago or so. Absolutely fantastic. And Mark Victor Hansen, who my wife Pamela and myself spent time with. Now, why this story? Because as I described previously, in terms of investing in yourself, you have to invest time, money, and energy into that journey that you want to make. What is it that certain people have acquired that you want to acquire and you want to aspire to? And the reason I want to just dwell for a minute on Bob Proctor is because Bob Proctor was an absolute guru and genius of the mind. There wasn't anything about the workings of the mind that Bob didn't know. So he offered coaching programs, training programs. He wrote a book. And interestingly, Bob Proctor and Mark Victor Hansen created what was called the 3% Club. I won't go into the details, but 3% Club was essentially to help those who wanted to grow in many different ways, to achieve a certain level of status, income, well-being, and everything else that they wanted through their own experiences. Now, if you don't know Mark Victor Hansen, he is a prolific writer with Jack Canfield, where they created the series Chicken Soup for the Soul, which you may have heard of. Prolific. Sold, I think, 500 million, maybe more, of those books around the world over that time. So prolific in the way in which he communicates and the writings and the stories. And then Bob, who has a very different style. Now, my point about these two wonderful individuals is that they have different styles, but they brought it together in the 3% Club, which I joined basically every 2 months or so, going to the US because that's where it was held. We'd spend 2 or 3 days together, learn from them, learn from other amazing people they brought to the stage and allowed us to share knowledge, insight, and then into breakout rooms and everything else. Bob was a great friend and a fantastic mentor. And I want to use that just to highlight an aspect of coaching and mentoring, because I think it's really important. That's why I'm linking it to investing in yourself, is to have a coach or coaches. I've had several coaches, fantastic coaches. Some I've sought out, some have been recommended to me, and those who have become mentors. And I think it's really important, firstly, just to have a quick distinction. Many people have different views, but here's mine. Coaching is essentially, very simply, image-wise, you could say, whether you're in sports or not, individual sports like tennis or golf, or whether you're in a team sports like football or rugby, something like that, where you have coaches. So the coaches are there to help guide you. There is an objective. There is a line that you want to get to, as it were. So you want to develop skills and abilities to get to a certain point. You want to improve your swing in golf. You want to improve your swing equally in tennis, for example. You want to play better as a goalkeeper or as a midfielder or front, a striker in football. Whatever it happens to be, coaches help you make those improvements. So they're there to give you guidance on specific skills and abilities that you have to acquire to be the best, the very best in your game at that. So there is a results-driven approach. This is what you expect to get. A mentor is different. A mentor is someone who is highly skilled, highly experienced, who has already achieved what it is that you want to achieve yourself. So you see them as kind of your guiding light. With a mentor, there's not necessarily a requirement to achieve a certain absolute time or level, but it is more, I can help you, or the mentor helps the mentee to get to a certain point. Now, in parentheses, I will say, for example, if you want to know more about mentoring, I am part of an organization called Collective Brains. So if you want to go to collectivebrains.com, you'll see me there. You'll see other great mentors. And there is a whole mentoring program around supporting individuals. It's more of a business environment, but you can see the context within which it is created. So a mentor is someone who really helps you grow. Now, for me, Bob Proctor, coming back to that, was both. Bob was a coach because he had phenomenal programs, which I worked through and trained with him on, and others, of course. And then he was a mentor, someone I could look to, someone who I could call upon on occasions where I needed specific guidance around different topics. Now, generally speaking, for a mentor or a mentee relationship, you really want to tap into the mentor's skill, knowledge, insight, guidance at specific moments. They're not going to be there on tap or on call all the time, but they're going to be there when you need them, assuming you can build that relationship. For me, if I come back to a business situation, I was head of real estate for Gap for 4 years, and my mentor, if you like, unofficially was Don Fisher. Don Fisher, the founder of Gap. Don was someone who I could look to, because when I came into retail, when I came into Foot Locker first and then Gap, I knew nothing about retail and even less about real estate. So I had to learn from someone who was going to teach me. And I thought, well, the man who's created this amazing company that I work for called Gap. And so Don Fisher allowed me to be able to connect with him on some of the biggest deals that we did in Europe. So many of them, as well as others, so getting board approval and so on. But I was seeing Don as the person who was going to help guide me and get me to that point where I was going to achieve what I wanted, to be one of the top real estate consultants, advisors, as I am today in Europe, if not in the world. And I say that with all humility, because when you learn from the best, you seek to be the best. And that's what I want you to do as well. So Bob Proctor was a mentor, as was Mark Victor Hansen and others down the road. So I acknowledge them in the book for what they taught me. And I want you, if nothing else, to take away the notion and the idea that there is an opportunity to be coached. And there are many wonderful coaches and coaching programs. You can find that out for yourself. And then there are some amazing mentors who you possibly know in your own world, in your own life. Who are they? Reach out to them and see if there's a way in which they can support you in their journey. Now, bear in mind, and I say this to all those who seek me out to be a mentor of them, our time is incredibly valuable, as you can imagine. All our time is valuable. But because we have got to a stage in our career where we are seen as a reference, which is fantastic, and I'm greatly honored. But at the same time, there's only 24 hours in a day, and there's only so much you can do. So there's either a formal relationship or an informal one. That really depends. But my point here is, what I want to leave you with is not only to invest in yourself financially, in terms of work and effort and emotionally, but also to find a mentor, someone who you see has reached the level that you want to get to, and you work towards that, aspire towards that, look to achieve that. That is the key. So please subscribe to the channel, other videos to come along as well, so you'll know more about what my communication, my thoughts, my ideas are, and more specifically how they can help you if you listen, take away, act upon, make notes, do whatever you want to. And then once again, Breaking Down Barriers, this is the book which highlights a lot of my thoughts, ideas, and philosophies, and then I break them down into areas that you can actually take away and work upon. So until the next time, thank you.